We are likely to go open carry soon. The First District Court of Appeals just passed this in our state. A lot of people are probably worried about that one because they just it's the same thing when we went permitless carry. Like everyone kind of just thought it was going to go crazy, and it was like, no, we have laws on the book that still protect us. Like it's not just going to completely go insane or anything like that. There's still laws on the book that will keep us within regulations. But that just happened with, of course, the situation. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Didn't agree with literally every stance that he pretty much had. I disagree with, but I don't think violence in any way or shape or form should be brought against another person simply because they have different beliefs. That I don't agree with. The legislation has resisted open carry for decades. Yes, they have. One of the big ones is the Florida Sheriff's Association. They have been very openly against open carry. There has been legislation passed or brought up in the past, but taken off the docket because Florida Sheriff's Association does not want that to go through. But now the District Court of Appeals in the First District has said that our 790,053 bill is unconstitutional, which is the ban on open carry. So in the First District, it is now allowed. It's not allowed in my district, which is the 6th. But when the Supreme Court decide, we'll then see what we got. What's the difference between open carrying and allowing a person to carry without a license? So open carry would simply be the firearm is visible with the ordinary sight. So when you look at a police officer, it's open carry because you can look at them and tell that there is a PU on their person. Permitless carry simply means that you do not need a permit in order to carry that device on your person in any shape or form. So yeah, it just essentially means you don't need the permit anymore. So beforehand, if you wanted to hide it on your person from the ordinary sight, you would need that permit in order to do so, but now you do not need that permit to do so, so that's the real difference. Last I checked, the FSA had no official stance on it. They try not to have an official stance, but when I was looking up this, they have come out against it and just said that it is not something that they really support. They don't want to take an official stance, but they are not in favor of it because if they were, it would have been passed by legislation already. But Florida sheriffs, certain ones, and I won't say the Florida sheriffs as a total, like as the complete association, but individual sheriffs that make it up have given contrasting opinions to it being being a thing. Even if outside of the First District, sheriffs are stating they are allowing it. Yeah, in which that can be done. So it has to go county by county. But the reason I'm making it such a broad statement is because there's so many counties, there's so many different sheriff organizations for each one. So it's like we don't want somebody in Dade County trying to follow something that's happening in Clay County, way up in the 5th district or the 4th district, I believe that is. Unless that's what I tell people in the video that I'm going to post too, unless your sheriff has told you that it is allowed, do not open carry in the state yet. That is, don't do it. You can still face charges. We are in limbo as of right now. But if your sheriff has come out on Instagram or made some kind of declaration on the news saying that, hey, we're going to follow the first district's lead, then yeah, you'd be good to do so. But until you get word from your sheriff, which for Orange, it would be Sheriff Mina, do not do it. I don't want you catching a charge. Where do I start on getting educated about the topics like this? You can honestly start by going to my YouTube or going to my TikTok page. I have plenty of videos up for years now, assuming TikTok still allows them. Sometimes they take them down. But for the most part, my educational videos on TikTok about pew laws, they allow. But any one that I'm actually using one of the pews, they typically don't allow those, or they may take them down depending on how they feel or what the algorithm and the guidelines are. But go to my YouTube, or you can go to uscca.com/reciprocity map. That's where I go to get a lot of my education. Again, it's uscca/reciprocity map. And from there, you will be able to click on your state, get all the laws, see everything there is to know about that state. And for the most part, they're pretty accurate. Assuming when laws are not passed the same day, like if a law is passed in a day, it's obviously going to be, a little delayed, but for the most part, they're pretty accurate on that website. Let's see, I might have missed a few. I agree, and even if the sheriff allows it, the local PD. So typically, it kind of works as a tier system where if Florida sheriffs, even though state trooper is kind of like the highest, ranking because they're state, Florida sheriffs kind of sets precedent, and as long as everybody else kind of follows Florida sheriff's lead, so local PD will follow Florida sheriff's lead, or the sheriff's lead of that county. May not. Can you clarify laws in NC? Yes, I got you. I recall seeing you do the hurricane security detail. You helped my pops with the info in your bid. Oh, well, Yeah, I did do some hurricane security. I'm kind of on standby for that right now since we're kind of at peak season, but we will see what comes through soon. Here, and this is on YouTube, here in Jacksonville, Duval County, the sheriff police chief has come out and said that he's instructed his staff to allow it, and there needs to be another issue to cause interaction. So yeah, individual what am I trying to say? Sheriff's office will likely follow the first district's lead, which again, this is what makes me think that likely the Supreme Court will fall in line with the decision. Also, given that the Supreme Court has already established Bruin, and under the Bruin test, which if you're not familiar, Bruin essentially says that we must evaluate all regulations in terms of the Second Amendment based off the historical context of the founding time, so the 17th century, 18th century, 17th century, somewhere in there. In most of the tests, like in terms of our open carry ban, it does not hold up against the Bruin test. Like in no way, shape, or form does it hold up against Bruin. So I find it highly unlikely that the Florida Supreme Court will go against the New York Supreme Court or the DC Supreme Court, which is the actual Supreme Court, against this test on Bruin. If they did, it'd be a huge upset in terms of like it just would be unheard of if they did something like that. Thanks. And then you asked me about North Carolina, which I did film a video on North Carolina, but I don't know. I guess I deleted it somehow. I don't know what happened to it. Again, if you would like to come up, either if it's on YouTube or if it's on TikTok, and you'd like to just discuss it, I'll say debate to a degree, but I'm really not here to debate. I'm really here to have an open dialogue, hear people's opinions, and be willing to be moved in my own stance. I am not some hard two-way person that is like, I shall not be infringed. I think that is dumb. I think we need modern day regulations. Like we have millions of more people than we did in the original 13 colonies. So I think there is always room for nuance in every discussion, which is why a lot of these issues are happening because people don't want to allow nuance. They want to stick hard to what they believe and their belief. And it's like, no, there's so many nuances that have to be evaluated, and then we can find a middle ground somewhere in there. So if you would like to come up, just let me know. Send an invite so I can also learn how to do it because I don't know how to do it as of yet. Damien, if you're on here, send an invite to come up so I can figure out how to bring somebody up. It's easy with you because you're my brother. Or maybe don't do it so they don't know that you're my brother. It's up to you. I recall seeing you. Yeah, I live in Orlando and have my CCW. Where can I carry in my vehicle? So, since you have a CCW, that means you're 21 at least. Inside of your vehicle, because we are now permitless carry, the only thing that you must follow is concealed. As long as it is concealed, which beforehand you've heard me say for years even, securely encased or not readily accessible. I still believe in securely encasing inside of a holster because that is the safest thing that you could possibly do. But the only thing now, as of right now, depends on what Sheriff Mina says in Orange County. Since you're in Orlando, if Sheriff Mina is going to follow the first district's opinion, then it can be anywhere inside of the car. Just put it in the holster for safety, and then you're good. Technically, the center console or glove compartment are the best bets inside of that holster. Florida Sheriffs has already deemed that a holster is a standalone criteria to allow for the securely encasing of a firearm. I I like to follow that definition, but I've seen in courts where it kind of starts to get a little confusing. So I say in a holster first. From the holster, you should be good anywhere. But as a safety precaution, especially if you have an interaction with PD, I would say put in the center console glove compartment while PD is next to your window. And then once they leave your window, you can go about. And I know it's kind of like, well, why? Like, give me a definite one-step answer. It's because PD can operate in manners that, like, the judge will not. So PD can charge you with it, and then the judge and the prosecutor are essentially the ones that have to uphold it. So even though PD says you're wrong, the judge can be like, nah, you're not wrong. Like, that's not the case at all. Even if the prosecutor says you're wrong, the judge, again, can be like, nope, let's evaluate the law. What I say goes, which is why we see the First District Court of Appeal doing what they're doing. So again, long story short, inside of a holster, if PD comes next to your car, put it in the center console, or since you know you're 21, you can carry it on your person. That's always an option. It's just not very comfortable to sit appendix with with a pew there. So thank you so much, Alien. Aline, I'm terrible with names, so I'm not even gonna try that. But thank you for the 10 roses. I really appreciate that. Um, yeah, you can carry it on your person all day long. It's just not that comfortable, but if you want to do so, you can. I tell people until Sheriff Mina comes out with an opinion about the First District Court of Appeals, If you want to carry in front of the seatbelt buckle, I would say get like a little bandana. It's just the easiest, lightest piece of cloth that you can have. Throw it over the thing, and now it's concealed, hid from the ordinary sight. Nobody can say anything against it. Therefore, you are good from that point forward. I typically ride around with the bandana, not because of gang activity or anything like that, but it's just an easy thing to like wipe your hands with, quick cloth if you just need it. So I typically have something like that in my car. But of course, center console, glove compartment, zipper bag. As long as you cannot see it by looking at it, you are good to go. And the Supreme Court has also deemed that concealed does not mean completely invisible. I promise you, I'm still getting to the North Carolina law. I have to learn to multitask here a little bit. Oh, so I already clicked on North Carolina. If you're still here with the North Carolina request and you have a specific thing that you want to see, let me know that specific thing, because I have literally like the entire state laws in front of me. And so I can just read them off, or you can give me a specific one and we can talk about that. If a store says no guns, is it breaking the law if found with one? No, that is a rule, not law. So when it comes to no weapons allowed signs, if they are not quoting Florida statute under that no weapons allowed sign that say that you legally cannot bring it in, like when you go to the post office, it's going to say no pews allowed, Florida statute 79006, U.S. Title Code 18, something of that nature. If it does not have specific statute, which you will know because it'll be in your face, undeniably in your face, you are allowed to bring it in. It is a rule, not law. The most they can do is tell you that no weapons are allowed, and then from there, you can say, "Oh, I'll take my food to go. I'll just leave. I'll go put it in the car. I didn't see your sign." Just play dumb, and then you're good. I say never try to argue your Second Amendment right, because if I was an owner and you pissed me off, I'm gonna trespass you. Trespassing with a pew is at least a misdemeanor. So there you go. Just play dumb, and you're good. Can I have my firearm with an adjudicated withheld? It is highly likely if you got an adjudication withheld, you usually do not lose your civil rights. I disclaim by saying I am not a lawyer, but typically an adjudication withheld means you did not lose civil rights. It would also depend on if it was a violent charge altogether. But even if it was, you still should not have lost rights. Typically, what happened, especially in your background, if you've applied for one and like your background has failed, you must, and this goes earlier to what another user was talking about, when you submit a background check, especially if you're trying to buy from a licensed dealer, you must submit court paperwork with them. No, but okay, cool. So easy adjudication withheld, easier then. You must submit court paperwork with your background check that shows what the outcome of the case was, because when they get your, it's not even an application. It's literally when they get your file up there and says, "Hey, this person Jay is submitting for a background check." If you have anything on your record that prohibits you or that is a red flag, they will immediately just see the red flag and deny you. They don't have time to try to dig into it, call you, and figure out what's going on. They're just going to say, "Nope, you got to go. You have this that's prohibiting you." So unless you provide paperwork, they will deny you every time. So when you submit, you should be allowed to just go ahead and submit court paperwork. My husband has a registered pew, but I don't have a license to carry. Can use it for protection. Yes, we are permitless carry, so you are allowed. And in Florida, we do not register. So if you maybe came from New York, yeah, it was registered there, but in Florida, there is no entity that it is registered under. I have like nobody knows which one that is and who bought it. The shop, had to catch myself. The shop they may have a record of it, but that is it. They just have a record of it for their own reasoning. So since I keep seeing all these guests and it keeps saying invite them, I'm just gonna click the next one that says invite. And if you want to accept it, you can accept it and you can come up and you can talk with me. But like I don't know if you guys are trying to get up and I'm just ignoring it, so I'm just gonna hit invite because I see it says invite. But I think that's literally just TikTok trying to get me to interact with more of you. What about carrying in a liquor store in Florida? Yes, because it is illegal to drink in a liquor store. That is public intoxication. So therefore you can. I tell everybody to bring an extra mag because they get robbed all the time. I used to work at a club that was right next to one, and the week after I stopped working there was an incident right out front where it did become shots fired. So bring an extra mag to the liquor stores. They get robbed all the time. Absolutely. How you doing? Thomas, I am doing well. Thank you for asking that, brother. I am doing well. Again, if any of you have questions either on YouTube here or on TikTok up here, you can request to come live with me. We are trying to open up a talk about pew laws and just how we can decrease this violence, because I don't agree with this violence that's being taken place. Again, so you're in South Carolina. Did I click on the wrong one? I can go to South Carolina real quick. Yeah, because my guy from NC, I think he left, which I'm sad about. I guess I got to rambling too much. But yeah, if you have a specific state try to tell me a specific question in the state, because if not, like I literally have a just a litany of information, so I don't know what you particularly need, and I can get to it quicker as opposed to trying to read the entire page if you give me a specific question. Okay, sis, you're still here. Cool. Love that you're still here. I can just yeah, ask me your specific question about North Carolina laws, and I will do my best to answer that specific question, considering I have it pulled up. Is Florida about to be open carry? It is highly likely Florida is about to be open carry. The in the first district, so in the Panhandle right now, open carry is allowed, but it is specific to the district of the first district where that opinion was given. So in every state, there are different districts that you can appeal a case in if you lose. Like if I were to lose a case in Orlando, I would appeal it to the sixth district, and the opinion that the sixth district gives then applies to the entire sixth district, but it doesn't apply statewide yet. So what we're waiting on now is Florida sheriffs to give their individual opinions of how they'll approach it. And ultimately, we're waiting on the Supreme Court to give their individual or their overall opinion about what the law of the land will be from this point. It is highly likely it will pass, considering Bruin is the evaluation that they have to measure it by now. So because they have to measure it by Bruin, the historical context of the country, there is no point in the 1700s that open carry would have been banned altogether. They would have had regulations in terms of places that you can and cannot carry, things you can and cannot do, mental states and things of that nature, but it would have never been an open ban. Um, New owner drove by and got it on a whim, shocked by how easy it was. Yes, so let's go into that one. I can kind of dig into that a little bit more. In terms of how easy it is to purchase inside of North Carolina, is this North or is this South still? I'm still in the South. Let's go back to North real quick. Scroll down. All right, so when it comes to the purchasing process inside of North Carolina, which is what we're talking about, and again, if anybody has any other questions about your state, just drop it there, and I will answer it as best as I can. So, handgun possession of a pew on private property, yes, you can do so in North Carolina. Minimum age is 18 to possess and transport. Permit to purchase, no, on March 29, 2023, they got rid of that under SB 41. The permit to purchase is no longer required. Are permits exempt from background checks? Yes. Granted, I don't know how true that one is. I've seen that one kind of vary. Like it said yes for Georgia, but I had Georgia residents tell me that that is not the case. So that one I would further check. Registration, there is no registration in North Carolina, like much of the South. Waiting period, there is no waiting period. Background checks for private sales, no, there are no background checks for private sales. So yes, North Carolina is a very friendly state when it comes to pew laws. And just speaking about that, like I think background checks are mandatory. Like ooh, I got a lot of comments there. Um, we can just go into that one. I think background checks are necessary for, I don't care who you are. Everybody should go through a background check. Everybody. Private sales, go through a background check. I don't care. Everybody should go through a background check. It's at least the first gate line. Honestly, and this is going to be a very opposite gun or 2A opinion. I believe everybody should have a permit. I believe everybody should go through the process to get a permit, because we as instructors get to be the filters that kind of let people to kind of filter the people that are coming in and trying to purchase. Like, do I believe you should have a permit to purchase? Yes. Do I believe you should have a permit? Yes. That is not a popular 2A opinion. Like, if you go to the hardcore 2A people, they will roast me for that one. They will strongly disagree with me, but like I believe it should be a thing because we need to filter through. Does it infringe on the Second Amendment based off, Bruin? Yes, it does. But like, it is what I believe is needed in a modern day. I don't really agree with Bruin fully, even though it does help. I don't fully agree with Bruin because the original context of the country, we are 200 plus years away from that. Like, we have millions of more people, so many more stimulants out there. It is not the same as it was in 1970 or 1776. I'm sorry. So I believe everybody should have a permit and everybody should go through a background check in order to purchase. It may not do much. You may be able to beat the background check, but at least we have something. Let me go down here to YouTube. So with Florida law, how they are in my door is kicked in or someone breaks in, can I pull my pew or do some other circumstance have to arise? No. So in the state of Florida, if somebody breaks into your home, you have full assumption to believe that life is in danger, and you can do whatever you feel is necessary in order to protect yourself in that moment. You don't have to. So inside the home is different than outside the home. Like outside, you typically have to articulate ability, opportunity, and jeopardy. Those are the three criteria that we really want to measure to use anything against. I will try not to use those words. Ability, opportunity, and jeopardy, that's typically what we want to measure against. But inside of the home, you can assume that life is automatically in danger and they are yours all day long. like Sheriff Grady says, send them back out the door with your pew. Um, yeah, you can go for it all day long. It's a green light if they break in because they forcefully entered. That's a forcible felony. Again, we can assume that they're doing nothing good past this point. You are justified from that point forward. People usually ask me about what if it is not on the front of their body, what if it is on the back. In the state of Florida, it does not matter. That is a California law for the most part. In the state of Florida, as long as they are inside, absolutely. Now, again, outside the home, if you're doing protection outside the home, it's kind of different because you do want to evaluate more criteria. If they are leaving, you don't want to try to engage somebody that is leaving. But if they're in their home, if they're in your home, as long as they have not crossed the threshold outside the home and they're still on the inside threshold, they're yours all day long. Go ahead and, do what you got to do. Open carry a rocket launcher. Okay. He open carries a rocket launcher. Okay. Again, if anybody wants to come up, you can. If you guys want to just keep chatting with me in the chat, I will like it. I'll keep going. I'm in Orlando, would like to get my permit. You can contact me. A lot of times they don't like me to say my contact, but 407-501-8369. My number is also in my bio if you go to my TikTok page. Text me. I will get you all the information you need to take that class with me. Yep, I run those classes all week, 7 days a week. So yeah, multiple times a day. So if you need that, contact me. Contact is in the bio. I agree, brother. I appreciate the answer. Absolutely. I appreciate your comment. I do like you guys engaging with me. It definitely helps me. Helps me further my skills as an instructor. It helps me understand the public a little bit more. I feel they should have a psychological test on site and mandatory 7-day waiting period. I would not disagree with that. My answer with the psychological test is one, we don't have enough mental health professionals in order to perform that psychological test. And with most psychological tests, like they aren't what you think. Like I was going to join NASA PD and I took like a 562 question psych eval. Like they aren't hard questions. And for the most part, it's like you can guess common sense of like, oh, I should probably answer this one this way. I should probably answer that one this way. So while I am with psych evals, I do think at a certain point psych evals can be beaten and they can be, you can bypass that if you've taken it enough times. Like there's only so many questions that you're going to put on there. So while I do think those would help, I don't know how practical they would be to put a mental health professional in every single shop around the country all day long. Who funds that? Does the shop fund it? Does the state fund it? Not that I'm against it, just practical thinking, because that's the rabbit hole I want to get down of like, how do we practically get to something that makes sense? I don't know how that would work. A mandatory 7-day waiting period, I don't disagree. Like it could work. In Orlando, we have a 3-day. In Dade County or Broward County, there's a 5-day. If they're going to do it, like they'll just do it after 7 days. They'll do it after 5 days. And that's the other thing is like when somebody is committed to an act of this nature, like what we saw yesterday, when somebody's committed to that, they're committed. They're going to do it. It doesn't matter the waiting period. And again, I'm not justifying it. This is not an argument against it, but like I've been there. I've seen that, as work in private security, like I've stopped mass incidents from happening because we were willing to do our job in a way that a lot of people weren't. Those people were committed and they weren't, it was usually gang activity, not in terms of like a situation like yesterday or other situations like we saw 2 weeks ago. Usually gang activity, so like they're not really trying to do with just as much damage as possible. But when they're committed, they're committed. Like the 7-day waiting period, it ain't nothing, it ain't no issue for them. They'll just wait 7 days and then carry it out on the 8th day. So while the longer waiting period could help, it doesn't necessarily stop it. I think one of the major issues we have to think about is if you've never watched like Criminal Minds does a very good thing of just like the behavioral analysis, side of it, where you have to evaluate the behavior of that person and like what are their triggers, what was their trigger that sent them over the edge to be this way. I think shows like 13 Reasons Why, those, while it was traumatic and I don't believe they should have made that a whole series, not to get on a tangent, but like some of the triggers in there that led to certain events happening, that is real. Criminal Minds, where certain triggers start people to do certain things because they experienced it this way and they had this kind of growing up. Those are things that need to be evaluated more. Those are things that I think we should really get into the nitty gritty of. And I'm not the professional to really go down the rabbit hole on it, but I think those are some of the major stimulus that we're not really thinking about. Let me go down here. Boosting Dave Gaming. What up, brother? I appreciate you. If Florida becomes an open carry state, would I be able to open carry a sword like a samurai? Honest question. Honestly, probably yes, because we are not just a firearm state, we are a weapon state. Like we have a weapons and pew license. So you would most likely be able to, unless they made a stipulation against it. Like for a fun fact, nunchucks are illegal. You cannot use nunchucks inside of Florida. So unless they made a stipulation against it, making it illegal, it's likely that you would be able to use that, or open carry that. Like I said, it would depend on what the verbiage in the statute would mean. But we do have a weapons tag. It's not just for firearms. Is it legal to have an? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not even, because I'm also on TikTok. I won't repeat those things. But yeah, you cannot have either one of those. Both of those are highly illegal in the state. Are you a security instructor? Also, I'm looking to get my G license. No, but I will become a K license instructor because I get so many requests and I feel like I'm leaving money on the table. Um, if you go to Cover Your Six shooting, they will. That is one of my close friends. They will get you situated, but I do not have my K license yet because it is kind of hard to get. But I am in the position where I could get it, and I will do that. But I don't have it as of now. Sorry. In Philadelphia, you have to wait as long as a background check takes. YNs don't stop at FFLs though. Exactly. In terms of the people that are actually going to commit a that aren't going to follow the law, like they're not going to wait on the proper process. They're just going to get it how they get it. Which, I mean, we could figure out how the system keeps getting flooded with so many illegal weapons. Like that's a whole nother conspiracy rabbit hole to go down, and I don't believe in conspiracies like that. But yeah, like the way that some of these kids are getting some of these items just does not make sense to me because they're not doing it through legal means. It could be a lot of straw sales. Like I've seen that plenty of times, like working in a shop. There was plenty of times where a girl came in to buy and I'm just like, you do like this gun is not for you, but I can't prove that. Therefore, I can't profile you and say I'm not going to sell this to you because I don't know. You might actually be going through a situation where you need it. And if I deny you because I'm profiling you, I'm wrong and I might have cost you your life in that situation. So a lot of straw sales are, I believe, what do it. They usually get a person that just doesn't, that they know can pass a check. That person goes and buys them all, and that's how they end up on the street. Either that or they're stolen, which is my argument against open carry. Is a lot of firearms get stolen through open carry, so I'm not in agreement with it for that reason. Texas sees a lot of stolen firearms because people they don't do it right. Like they just put it in their pocket, like their back pocket. Like that is the dumbest thing. I don't know why you would ever carry a pew in your back pocket just openly like that. Somebody comes behind you, takes it. What are you gonna do? The thing you had to protect yourself is now gone, and you know they have it, and you know what's in it. So therefore, what are you gonna do against it? Like it's just it's dumb when people do that. Have you gone over the law so called they are going to pass what I'm asking about today and this morning? Yeah, we've been talking about the new open carry law. I am actually thank you for kind of reminding me because I need to upload that to YouTube right now. I have it in standby, but I have not actually uploaded it, so I need to also multitask and get that going. But now I'm kind of doing like two different things, so you may just have to wait on that one. Like the views will still come in. Why can't we carry nunchucks? I don't know, man. They just made an illegal law, or like I call it like a blue law. I didn't write it. I don't know when they came up with it, but I just randomly was reading one time and saw that like nunchucks are illegal. So yeah, it's one of those random things. That's what I said. Like for the person that asked me about like open carrying a sword, like potentially, but it depends on what verbiage they write in there because they could easily be like no swords because Florida man's a real thing. Like if you don't live in Florida, Florida man is a real thing. He lives in a popka. Um, like they just do crazy stuff. They do crazy things. So yeah, I don't know why nunchucks aren't legal. Can police legally do anything if I print when I can still carry but my shirt is still covering? No, they cannot. There are no laws against printing. There are no laws at all against printing. So if you are caught printing, which printing is basically you can see the outline of it, there is no law against it. While somebody may call the police on you because they feel uncomfortable, um, there is no law. It is still concealed. It's hidden from the ordinary sight. You can see the outline, but what if the outline is the phone case? If the outline is the phone case, like there's nothing broken here. There's no law broken here. So there is no law against printing. Naturally, I think you just don't want to print because you're kind of giving it away at that point. If you're going to print, you might as well open carry because you're letting people know what you got. I like the surprise tactical advantage because you can play scared, you can kind of cower, try to make sure you really hide that midsection of yourself, and once you get an opportunity, boom. I think we've all probably seen the video of the incident in the barber shop where like the dude literally just goes crazy on the barber and he tells like the dude in the chair that's getting his haircut to like move out the way, and he does a perfect job at just concealing, and then once he gets the drop, boom, he engages and he solves that threat, even though it was a little too late for the barber. But like, I like that tactical advantage. That is a real thing. So I prefer conceal carry and try not to print. I'm a ninja. I need nunchucks a part of my arsenal. I mean, hey brother, you can be the new ninja YN. I mean, they already used the ninja thing as the YN symbol, so I mean, you fit the bill. But be prepared for what comes with that. And honestly, like if you bring nunchucks out near me, like you can bet your bottom dollar what I'm gonna bring out next. I don't think you would lose that bet. So good luck with that one. I don't personally believe in the nunchucks, but if you want to go crazy with them, your American right is to go crazy. Be like those sovereign citizens where they don't believe in gun law or laws at all. They just drive on the road saying, "I was traveling in a conveyance. I wasn't driving. I was traveling." It's like, okay, bud, you're just going to jail too. Open carry is technically not in effect yet. However, certain counties and cities are not enforcing it. Yes, that is what I've been talking about. Open carry is only allowed in the first district, which is the Panhandle. For every other district, which is Jacksonville, that is going to be the fourth district. Central Florida, which is the sixth. Miami area, which is the third. The Tampa area is the fourth. No, the Tampa area is the third. No, Miami's the second, Tampa's the third, and Palm Beach is the fourth. I'm trying to remember that by heart. There's so much. My mind has been filled all day. I've been getting updates nonstop all day. Literally, the guy that I was on the phone with earlier, he was calling me. He was like, "Yo, are you tracking what's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm tracking," and I'm overloaded right now. Like my brain is moving. Brevard County. Wow. Okay, so Brevard County is allowing open carry. Local Columbia County and Sweet County issued statements on Facebook saying it was legal. Yes, so Columbia County, you're in the first district. So you are in the exact district where that opinion was passed. That is why they came out first, because it directly affects you guys first. That's why I had to buy a bigger shirt instead of a form fitting shirt. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like slim fit shirts, but I got to be mindful of them because I carry a full size. Like, yeah, I'm still in the 320 side of things, if you know what I mean. And I know what the company's going through. I know I'm really mad at the company, but man, I've used mine for so many years on duty. Like I've fallen, I've beaten it. It has gotten a beating. It has been through the test, in my opinion, and it has not failed me. Obviously, there's always the potential for it too, but I think that's with anyone. Yes, yes, I do. Listen, man, I've been doing this for like I don't literally like 4 years now. 4 years every day of the year for 365 days. I have not switched up, and I have so much invested. Like it's a $1,500 piece of equipment at this point. $1,500. It's not easy to just give up $1,500. Like I do got things that I'm gonna go to, but 1,500 invested my entire, like I won't say my entire reputation has been built on it, but like my reputation is built on that. Like if anybody who knows me in the city or has seen me perform, they know that is what I'm using. I don't care what they're using. This is what I'm using, and I will outperform you with it every time. Um, you have a nunchuck draw time of zero point 0.5. That's fine. You got to close the distance first. You assume I'm going to let you be that close to me where zero point 0.5 won't matter. It takes 1.14 seconds to close a 7 yard gap. Anything closer than that, and I am already ready. I've seen a guy get one off in .26, and he doesn't even have to fully aim. He just John Wicks that thing. So zero point 0.5 is cool, but 0.26 is possible. Gabby, hello. I don't know if I know you personally, Gabby, but I feel like I recognized your profile picture. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man, but the 320 is it's still what I got. The key thing that they have said: if you are asked to leave for open carry and you do not, you will be trespassed. Yes. So that is the same thing that would apply with concealed carry. If they know that you have a weapon and they ask you to leave and you choose not to, you'll be trespassed. And at that point, you can be trespassed with a weapon, which instead of it just being like a verbal thing that has no, like a civil infraction, it can be considered a misdemeanor. So that's why I tell people, um, do not argue your Second Amendment rights. I will never be arguing my Second Amendment rights with anybody. I will always look. It's your house, your rules. I'm not. Why am I going to disrespect you in your house and try to argue? You don't got 790. Like no, I'm not a Second Amendment auditor in any way, shape, or form. It's not something that I believe in. It's not something I'll be doing. But you know, if you choose to be one of those, like just be prepared that you might catch a charge, trespassing with the weapon, which is a misdemeanor. This is one thing I believe in and will lead to issues with. At what point are your rights being violated? Um, I mean, it's private property, so your rights aren't being like your rights aren't being violated on private property. You still have the right, just not on this portion of the property, which is something else that they were stating in the bill, that it is not absolute. There are still regulations that will go into effect with it. So like I don't like the fact that a lot of two-way guys go, shall not be infringed means no law is like, that's not what it didn't even mean that in the 1700s. Like they still had regulations in place that you could carry, like you weren't walking around New York just open carrying a musket. Like it just wasn't the case. It was not the case. Now if you were in rural areas, yeah, a lot of the times if it was wartime, like if it was active revolutionary war, sure, it's very different. We're actively fighting a war. But once it became peace times post revolutionary war, like you weren't doing that. Open carry and concealed carry, if anything back then, concealed carry was seen to be sneakier. Like it just wasn't. There's always been regulations in terms of the Second Amendment in some way, shape, or form. There always has been. So for people that just think shall not be infringed is just a complete thing, it's just not true in my opinion, in my understanding. And I've dug into this thing very deeply. I have throwing stars. Yeah, you can throw that star. I'm gonna throw some lead. Um, like I said, brother, if I see your hand reaching for something, I see that star in your hand, like you're giving me justification. If you're close enough to do that, then yeah. I used to make a joke about that where I'm like, for the most part, if they have like a blade of some sort, it's probably not justified until they're at least within 7 yards. But if you know they professionally throw knives as you do, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to give you an opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and let you have it. Sorry, buddy boy. Sorry, Gary getting in. Let me tumble upon impact round. Do you recommend them or do you have a go-to round? 9 is my go-to. I will always use 9. I think it is quicker to get follow-up shots or sequential sends with a 9 mil than it is a 45 or anything else, especially if we're talking 40. 9 mil is just, it's way more reliable. I can do 6 shots in 1.95. I will take that all day long over anything else. So while it may tumble, the things still fly straight. It's not wanted. They don't curve. So I'm gonna always choose a 9 personally. That's just always gonna be my choice. Somebody said something up here. Let me scroll down. I 100% agree with you. I'm telling you, just know, brother. Like, we can all throw things, absolutely. Yeah, this live is. I'm gonna try to do these a whole lot more. I know these one for a business perspective. Like this helps me engage with a lot of you a lot more in ways that I don't always get to, especially if you don't call me personally. Which, if you would like to call, you can always go and contact my number 407-511-8369. That is how you get directly in contact with me. Obviously, don't call me right now, considering we're on live. But if you ever have personal questions that you don't want to ask on live, you can contact me on that number. But just know, if you ask me a super crazy question, I have no issues against calling the police. My job is to be a professional snitch some days. Security, your job is a professional snitch. So just keep the questions modest. I'm not bad. I have never called the cops on somebody, but let's not do anything crazy. Just got to put that disclaimer out there. The world is kind of psycho at times. But yes, you can always get in contact with me there. If you want to book any classes, again, contact should be in the bio. I don't think my link is there anymore because I made my TikTok a personal account, just trying some things out versus a business account. I really don't deal with TikTok as much anymore simply because, um, sorry, I'm bothering you. On it. That's fine if you message me on IG. I don't care about that. I will respond to you when I get a chance to. Um, or you can, I assume that you want that to be more private. So yeah, don't ask it there. But yeah, I'll probably make my TikTok account a business account again because I just don't see the purpose of the personal account. And TikTok doesn't pay me for any of the content I put out. Anyway, they usually ban me for most of the content that I put out. G3C, I love it. And when it became my EDC, or 15 years now. Yeah, 15 years now. I used to carry. If you want to carry those, you absolutely can. I will say, let's try to be careful about some of the things that we're putting in the comment section because TikTok does not like. They really don't like me very much. I'm gracious they're still letting me on right now because I've tried to be mindful about the words. But like I said, for the way you put it, I think that'd be acceptable. But just for all the people that may be new coming into, especially considering events that have recently happened, I do want to be very mindful of it. I was very cautious about doing this because I don't like to try to capitalize on tragic events. I have purposely not talked about tragic events simply for the fact of I don't want the recognition. But someone told me that like no matter what, you should still probably comment on them because you have a perspective that other people would greatly appreciate. So you should probably still give that perspective when you can. So that is why we're on today. Try to add that light in. I see a comment down here. So Florida, you can't use deadly force to solely protect property. Yeah. Yes. Well, let me read that again. You cannot use the unalive physical force to solely protect property. Yes, you can use reasonable force to protect property. So when it comes to property, you can use force, just not the the extreme amount. Um, I always tell people mace is a great tool. If you've never used mace or you've never been maced, excuse me, you don't know what you're kind of missing. One, I mean, to get maced is terrible. I've been maced on duty. It is the worst experience I have been through. I'd rather be tased than get maced ever again, but I will be getting maced very soon again. Um, but yes, you in terms of just property force, you can use hands. You can push them away. Like if somebody's coming into your house, you can use force to get them out. If they're coming into your business, you can use force to get them out. If they're on your property, you can use force to get them out. You do not want to use the extreme amount until you can articulate how life is in danger, which we usually evaluate that by ability, opportunity, and purpose. Um, if somebody has the ability to do that, they have something that sends a projectile at a high rate of speed or velocity, a car deliberately trying to come at you. Yes, they have the ability, opportunity. 7 yards with one of these little throwing stars that he's talking about, they have the opportunity. So you can go ahead and discharge. And jeopardy, I always say another person should reasonably believe that life's in jeopardy. We're looking at the situation from the outside in. And I say that because if I am on the outside and I can look at the situation and be like, yeah, that person's life was in danger and I would have done the same thing they did, it makes it easier for a jury of my peers to say the same thing. It makes it harder for the prosecutor to try to argue against me. And it usually justifies stand your ground self defense after that. So, yes, from that point forward. I recently purchased mace. Yes, everybody should purchase a can of mace. I don't have a sponsorship with the company, but they did send me some out for free, and I'm going to try to work out something with them. I am honestly, I'm dreading having to eat the mace myself because, like, legally, I don't want to mace anybody else, even if it's just for the content. I don't want to put anybody else through that pain, even though a couple of people did volunteer. But I got to eat it myself, and it won't be too fun. Yo, what up, little bro? Sorry I cannot be with you guys this school year. Just is what it is. I won't say who it is, but yeah, I appreciate you. And he's gonna say my name there. That's funny. I just recently purchased mace. Thank you for teaching. You are absolutely welcome. Money Green, you're welcome. This is literally what I do. I actually have a former student in this chat right now. Been teaching him for a little minute now. As a trucker myself, I have mace and my hole puncher. Absolutely, you should keep both of those. Mace is such a vital tool. Like on duty, we've used mace and it has stopped me from unaliving people because the mace just made them stop doing what they were doing. Like there was a guy, I'll give you story time. God, I can't even remember all the details, but what I do remember is there was a car that we already knew was suspicious and had an illegal pew in there. And so we had already like made a mindful mental note of that one. And the guy, one of his friends, like went to the car, and I guess they had been fighting inside of this club, and so the guy went to the car. He moved it because he kind of knew what this individual may do, and then this individual did end up escalating things to a different degree, and is interested in contacting the creator. I don't know what that meant. He went to the car and he was trying to get this thing, and we all met him at the car because they're fighting at the car, and I'm looking at him through the windshield and he has the center console open, and like I see him scrummaging around for stuff, and I'm like, you're looking for the thing. The live will end, and if you know it will not, we will keep this live going. Why won't it allow me? I want to keep the live going on TikTok. There we go. I think that'll allow me to keep it going. Yeah, there we go. So with he's scrummaging around through the center console, and like I know what he's reaching for, and I'm like, dude, the moment I see you do it, I have to do my job at this point. My teammate sees the same thing. He gets his mace, sends it at him, and the dude literally gets out of the car and starts running. And it was like, thank God that mace. From that day forward, I've strongly believed in mace because it stopped me from having to do a traumatic event that day, and I would have had no choice because it's like I'm here, all the brothers are here. Like I have no choice but to do my job from this moment forward. Um, it's all love, love, bro, for sure. Hey, that was the goal. I wanted to do it. I wanted to go with you guys another year, but situation plan went out how it did, so it just is what it is. Um, I appreciate both of these little bros. Oh, sorry, there's multiple of you in here, so I guess you guys probably put it in the group chat. Let's see what we got down here. Do you recommend can still carry insurance? I have an attorney as a retainer. Yes, I do. Fun fact: George Zimmerman had carry insurance. He had what's called two-way protection. I teach at Shoot Straight, which is, that's the facility that's kind of sponsored by them. We see the power of two-way. That attorney that he got is one of the best attorneys in Central Florida for self-defense. Like if you had to go get a person, you're going to get him. I knew one of his somebody else that worked in his office next to him, and she is one of the best family attorneys in the state. Like their office, I guess it's kind of like a co-share space, and it might be DSK, but they have the best attorneys for self-defense. No ifs, ands, or buts. I see one of their guys. I see him like every other weekend. We kind of just chit chat, and he's like, "Yo, we could beat you in a case," and I'm like, "I'm sure you could. I'm not a lawyer, bud." But yes, get carry insurance for $300 a year, which is their max plan. You will have an attorney that is dedicated to you, that specializes in self defense. It is their job. Now, if you end up in a situation like George Zimmerman, they will drop you because you're not supposed to use that much insurance. That was a $4 million case. So try not to use it, but it is very beneficial. The other good one to use is US Law Shield. US Law Shield, I believe they will get you a lawyer standing next to you within 45 minutes to 2 hours of calling them of any situation. So I highly recommend both because attorneys on retainer are extreme. Like my defense attorney, to beat a gun case, if it's not involving force, it's $5,000. I assume if it does, he might not even take it. Like he just doesn't really. That's not his style. He'll do, civil infractions or just wrongful cases. But if you actually use self defense, it's likely he'd refer you to somebody else. So I wouldn't. What does it cost? Two-way insurance costs $13 annually or 161, or no, $13 a month or 161 annually. I believe their top package is 300 a year, which is still compared to $5,000 just to beat a case is very different. Yes, I will be coming to one of the games. I just got to line it up with my schedule. You guys know I kind of work on one of those days, so I got the schedule. I will line it up with the next one. I would have come to the last game, but it was at like 12 p.m. I'm not sorry. I'm just not coming at 12 p.m. I got work to do during the day. Let's try to keep up with both of these. Do you recommend? Are you on TikTok? Yeah, follow me on TikTok too. I am on TikTok and YouTube. Just trying to get good in the algorithm on both of those. I wanted to ask you if Florida can have a weapon gifted to me and carry it in my car. Yes, you can do that all day long. What you want to be with no permit or license? I'm 18. I don't really understand this whole law. And okay, so I'll explain this one to you. So since you are 18 years old, you are going to follow my instructions explicitly. That thing will always be inside of a holster. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Put it in a holster. It's the golden rule. If you don't put it in a holster, you're going to be just like my friend who had to pay $5,000 to Brandon Gans to beat his case because I told him put it in the holster. He didn't, and he had to fight a concealed weapons charge, third-degree felony. In a holster. From there, it will never, ever be on your person, and I want you to never, ever put it under the seat. You put that thing under the seat, again, you're going to have to fight a charge. Whether it's justified or not, you're going to have to fight a charge. I've seen it too many times now. From the holster, center console. Put it in the center console. The reason you don't put it in your glove compartment is because that's usually where your registration is. I don't want you to have to reach for the registration and explain to I don't want you to ever have to mention that thing to the officer. Florida's a no duty to notify state. So you're under no legal obligation to tell the officer that you have a weapon. Keep it that way. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to volunteer that information. If it's in the glove compartment, you're going to have to volunteer that information. Who knows what their experience has been through? They might have lost a partner. They may have just gotten into an engagement. They may just have PTSD and have been on the job too long. We don't know. I respect that from them because I've been there before. Sit in a holster, then in the center console. At that point, you have 2 levels of securement. You are good to go in the eyes of the law. Even if they try to bring a charge against you, you will beat that charge all day long, easy as day. If you don't follow those instructions, it's likely you could face something. So yes, at 18, you can be in lawful possession. It cannot be on your person. I don't recommend putting it under the seat because I've seen people get charges that way. Therefore, off your person in a holster, securely encased there, and then put it in the center console or put it in a book bag, zip the book bag up, put the book bag in the passenger seat, and then you're good. I recommend the center console. It's the fastest thing to get to. It's easy to open the center console. So yes, do that all day long. And if your center console does not hold it, at that point, move your registration to your center console and put your gun your pew inside of the glove compartment. Like switch the spot for those two because I know center consoles can be small sometimes. So don't keep those in the same place if your center console is not big enough to actually house that thing. Do you actually need the holster because it's in the glove compartment? No, but the holster is the safest thing that you could possibly have all day long. You don't want that thing to ever go off, and the only way it can go off is if something pulls the actual device that makes it go off. So put it in a holster, then put it in your glove compartment. Don't keep them there. What is the general cost? I think I just answered that one for you. $16 a month or 161 annually for 2A. Generally, that's probably about what it is for most carrier insurance. Can it be a hand? Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, specifically this is so really this rule applies only to what you just stated, the hand pews. If it is a long, here's the contradiction in Florida, right? So for the hand pews, all day long, you can, as long as you're securely encased, you're good to go. For one of the longer ones, technically you're allowed to keep that thing anywhere else inside of the vehicle as long as it's being cared for a lawful purpose. That doesn't make sense. I also don't understand how they would know it isn't a dirty since I won't have any papers. That is the point. They don't know and they have no reason to know. So it'd be going against the general premise of innocence of proving guilty if they automatically assume that it's dirty. Like, what reasonable cause, what articulable, suspicion do you have to believe that this thing is dirty? If you don't have one of those, then there's no reason for you to actually get access to it to try to run that information. Um, you have a Fourth Amendment right to the protection of your car. Your car is your dwelling. You have a Fourth Amendment right. An officer cannot just go inside of your car. Like if they're writing you a traffic ticket and they don't like say they smell something, like let's say you don't use any paraphernalia, you're not, there's your car smells like a brand new car fresh off the lot. If they write you a ticket and they take you out of the car because Pennsylvania versus Mim says that they can do that, they still need to ask your permission to go in the car to grab something. They cannot just go inside of that car unless you give them permission. Therefore, your pew inside of the car, it's under that Fourth Amendment right. So therefore, don't put yourself in a position where you have to volunteer the information to them so they don't even have to ask that question. Nope, these are not stupid questions. These are questions that I answer all year, every year for the last 5 years because people need to know. And where else would you go to get this information? Like there is no other place. That's why I started this business. That's why I'm literally on live right now because I'm trying to give you guys a place where we can openly talk about and have a dialogue about pews in the country, things we can do to stop the violence, things that we can do to solve, mass tragedy events as they happen. Um, I guess now we eventually have to talk about political issues that are starting to go on, which I don't agree with at all. We should not be using weapons because of political differences. What if what if you're an armed security officer and keep your service weapon on your back seat? That is perfectly fine. That is, I do it all the time, especially when I get off duty. Like it goes straight into the back seat. I don't like to open carry while I'm driving, not because there's an issue. I'm leaving work and I have a G license, which allows me to do so. It's just not comfortable. So yeah, it could be back there all day long. And especially if we're talking about like a long pew, yeah, like I said, there's a portion right under the 790.025 that says any other um, any other pew can be carried in the car as long as it's being carried for a lawful purpose anywhere in the car. Do I need to restore it my right to carry? Now, I could just be reading that very stupidly, and I did not mean to, but are you trying to say, how do you restore your rights? Let me read off YouTube really quick. Any recommendations on carrier insurance that you are sponsored by or recommend? I am not sponsored by any. I could be. I just kind of choose to not. Sometimes I won't lie. Sometimes in business, I just choose to be lazy, which is not good. It's not smart. There's just certain things I don't want to deal with because I'm already running two companies and creating content is a business of its own outside of literally teaching and being educated on the gun law. So it really feels like three companies sometimes. And I don't really want to deal with making sure you get the proper care and service for carrier insurance. So I don't handle it myself, which I probably should, or just hire somebody to do it. I just don't. But I'd recommend 2A or US Law Shield. Those are the two that I highly recommend. Why 2A? Because we have a case study with George Zimmerman that shows what 2A protection will do for you. And US Law Shield, I have a personal friend that has used it, and a lawyer was standing next to him within 2 hours of calling. I need some advice. Earlier today, my friend asked me, would I rather watch a tree grow or a Negro? I hate you. Yeah, McCree, I should kick you out of my life. Um, I didn't mean to say I hate you. I'm very sorry about that. That was the dark humor in me that just comes out with friends. I did not mean that. Any recommendations? But in that moment, you did just piss me off. Any recommendations on carry and insurance? Okay, I just read that one. If you have the option, do you prefer indoor or outdoor ranges? I prefer outdoor ranges. I prefer outdoor. It kind of depends on what I'm doing. It, listen, man. these things come in so late, and then like some of the verbiage is just kind of, it doesn't make sense. So I'm like, I gotta read it out loud to try to like really make sense of what they're telling me in that moment. And they probably knew that based off the way I'm reading, which is why they asked that. Like, I should pre-read them in my head, but like I'm doing this all in the moment out loud, so don't judge me. But like they knew what they were doing. Little shite. I prefer outdoor ranges, but like I said, it was kind of dependent on what I do. If I'm just testing gear, like if I have to test a new optic, if I just have to zero real quick, I'm not going to drive an hour to an outdoor range just to zero an optic. Outdoor ranges, I'm going to spend at least 2 hours really practicing draw times, split times, understanding performance, understanding movements. Indoors, it's just going to be a quick test. It's literally for zeroing most of the time. Like if I have to zero an optic, I'm gonna go indoors. But if I'm actually going to like shoot, it's gonna be outdoors for sure. Uh, do I need to restore my rights to carry? Yes, if you have lost the rights, if you have something on your record where you lost your Second Amendment right or your civil rights period, you would need to restore them. If you are a resident in Florida, I did just learn this. If you are a resident in Florida, you can apply for clemency in Florida, and there is a section that will do out of state, and kind of clear it up for out of state too. I will do a separate video on that one. I have a lot of videos to make this month. I'm trying to get 16 videos out on YouTube. It is actually a very challenging task, but we're doing pretty good so far. I think I have at least 4 out, even though we're 2 weeks in, but I spent 2 days filming last week, and then Monday was a holiday. So that kind of, set me back. It was just a weird week, but I got plenty of videos that are coming out. So I will talk deeper about restoring rights, but yes, you can apply for clemency in Florida, and even if your charge is out of state, it will work in Florida. There is a clause for that you just have to fill out on the paperwork. You should put into Google Florida clemency pardon. Once you do that, the first thing that will come up is Florida Department of Correctional Behavior or something like that one. And you can go through the paperwork, just read the paperwork, and it will explain everything. And if you still have an issue, message me either, my number 407-501-8369. You can DM me here. I'd recommend you DM me on Instagram or text me, because I don't check the DMs on TikTok as much, just because I don't like when I post to TikTok, it is through an automated AI. Like I'm not doing it myself anymore. So there's a difference there. Uh, Indoor outdoor insurance. So 2A or Law Shield. Yes. 2A protection or US Law Shield. Those are the ones that I would go with. So after a self-defense incident, is it true to call 911 and then just shut up? Um, I tell people that 911 is a recorded line. As they let you know that that is a recorded line. So you just want to be mindful about the things that you say. If you do have the ability, I would designate somebody else to call 911. Like if I am primary, and when my team has been in been in situations like this, um, we designate roles. If you're primary, you over there, you're gonna signal, and you're gonna still signal the ambo in when they come, signal them over. You're gonna get on the mic with 911 and let them know what the deal is. The person that is initially the primary person that was involved, I don't believe they should call 911 because you're in shock. You don't know what details you're going to lapse on. That 911 call can be used in discovery against you in court. Therefore, be very mindful. And it's one of the most annoying conversations you're going to have. Like, what are you wearing? Are you safe? If I was safe, I wouldn't be calling you. You don't need to know what I'm wearing, but they do, because they need to pass as much information on to the dispatched officer as possible. So like I get why they ask so many questions. It's just very annoying when your heart's racing, you're got an adrenaline dump going, and it's like, just get me 9 units and a helicopter here right now. Just do that, like it's the movies. But it's a 7-minute conversation that will piss you off. But call 911, tell them, hey, I was in this incident. This is what happened. Don't try to get into any specifics. As soon as you get off the phone with 911, call your lawyer. Call your lawyer. Do not try to talk to them. If you're Red Miranda on a scene, do not talk anymore. You are a suspect. They are not your friend. They're not there for your kind, just to help you out. They're there to do a job. And if their job is to arrest you, they will arrest you. Became the #2 fan in the fan club. Thank you. This is the first time I've ever had a fan club. Which I think this is the most engaging live I've had, which, I'm happy about. So I will keep these going a little more often. I'll try to be a little bit more consistent with these, especially considering there's 10 on TikTok and there's only 2 right now on YouTube, but that is fine. We'll get there. It's just all about consistency in the end of the day. Where is some good outdoor ranges in the O? So inside of the O, there really are none. Like they will not allow an outdoor range within Orange County district. So you got to go on the outskirts. So Leesburg, St. Cloud has Triple N. Leesburg has Aries Training. Volusia County has their own club out there. Palm Bay Pistol Club, which is obviously in Palm Bay. It's about an hour and a half away. I think Aries and Triple N are probably about the closest ones. They're only, oh, excuse me, sorry if you guys heard that. They're only about an hour out, 50-ish minutes. So depending on where you are in Orlando, if you're far east side, I don't know, it could be like a little over an hour. But for the most part, it's about an hour away if you want to go to Aries, which Aries was designated one of the best outdoor ranges in Central Florida. So, big shout out to them. I've been with them and grown with them the entire way. So, really love Aries. Really love the guys over there. They are some of the best and some of the nicest guys I've ever met. Self defense incidents, true. Yeah. Oh, I already read that one. Yeah, for the most part, it's true. Just shut up after you. After police reach your Miranda, that's when you should really shut up. Anytime before that, be mindful because they have body cam and body cam can also be used in discovery. But anytime before, if they read you Miranda, you shut up. I hate. It's always funny to like watch those interrogation videos where the person is in the interrogation room talking to the interrogator and like they just think they're so smart and that they're gonna be able to beat them. Like there was the one girl where she got the tattoo here and then she like does this little thing to kind of show like how she would have had to do it, thinking that and it's like you just told on yourself. They are an interrogator. They have done 6 interrogations today. What makes you think you're going to be the one smart one that beats them? You're just not. Call your lawyer. Call a lawyer. You probably already talked about it, but what's the do and don'ts for open carry? The do's and don'ts for open carry will be the same as concealed carry. The only thing that will really change with open carry is the fact that we can see it on your person now. Everything that has already applied now will continue to apply. Like laws will not get changed because of open carry. So no federal property. You cannot bring it, into schools. You can't bring it into athletic events. So Camping World, Kia Center, Orlando City, can't bring it into places like that. Still can't be within 1,000 feet of a school zone. All the same things apply. If anything, I'd say you get a little tougher now simply because if you try to reach for that thing in an incident where you think it's necessary, like I don't know how those charges if there are charges that'll be brought for that, or if that'll escalate a situation. So that'll kind of change. But for the most part, yeah, nothing is really going to change with the fact that we can now open carry. It'll all be the same pretty much. That's of course if it passes. It will. So it did. It has passed. What we're really waiting on is the Supreme Court to uphold it, and it's very likely they will. I think it'd be an extreme upset if they did not, especially if they're evaluating under Bruin. The only thing that could stop it is if we went to an en blanc court, which simply means it would go to a different low court that is a little bit higher, but it would be a larger panel than just a 3-panel judge. So in the district courts, it's typically a 3-judge panel. In an en blanc court, it would go to like an 11-judge panel or just more judges than 3. So it could vary on the number, but it would be more judges than 3. If they really want to fight against it, they would go to an en blanc court. But if not, it's just going to go straight to the Supreme Court. Or if the Supreme Court refuses to give an opinion, which I doubt they would, it would be left to the local county sheriffs, which it seems like somebody just already said Broward is following the lead of the 1st District, which they are extremely south compared to extreme north. So we just have to wait on the Supreme Court, but it's likely that it will get upheld. Or we have to wait on the governor to change the verbiage in the statute of 790053. I'll be home in 2 weeks. I've been trying to run some drills. I'll be stopping. Let me know. Oh, yes. Let me know. Let me know, bro. We were supposed to go today, but I had classes, so I couldn't. And I got classes through Saturday. So no outdoor range for me this week right now. So walking in a public library. A public library is considered government property. So, yes, I would assume that also counts. Granted, I don't know what kind of signage they have outside, if it has legal statute, but considering it's a public library and government funded, it would likely be a no. I also think they have metal detectors. So I'm trying to think, I think our public library downtown has metal detectors. So yes, a public library would likely be a no. It just keeps saying to invite people. Nobody wanted to come up, which is fine. If you're going to work or coming from work, can I have my service? If you're stopping to can you carry your service weapon if you are stopping to get gas or leaving to or from work? Since you said service weapon, I'm going to assume that you are operating in an official capacity at some point, because if not, you're just a civilian with a weapon, which there's nothing against that, but to say service weapon just gives me a different context than everybody else. So I will say, for the most part, I'll say yes. And when it comes to stopping at a gas station or going into a store, If you are not, which don't quote me hard on this, but if you're not within a mile to 2 miles of your contract location, then no, you do not want to have it on you. But if you're within a mile or 2 miles, and I believe it's a mile of your contract location, then yeah, you can go into it. It's unreasonable. You're within a mile, like you would have to get back soon. But and the other thing that you would want is you need your agency patch on, and you need a clear identifier of what you're operating as. So if you're official PD, you probably wouldn't be asking me this because it's clear as day. Assuming you're security, have your agency patch on and something that says security in clear and bold, so people are not confused. Just got a number 3 gifter badge. I really don't know what all these gifts do. When I tell y'all I am very new to this thing, like I probably have not been on TikTok live in at least a year and a half. Let's look at YouTube real quick. Um, I just delivered Kissimmee and I really didn't care for it. Is Orlando any different? No, Orlando. Oh, that's funny. No, Orlando is not very different than Kissimmee. Both Osceola sheriffs and Orange County sheriffs are running code all day long. So it's pretty much the same thing. If you want a quieter setting, you go out to Claremont. Claremont, like I very rarely ever hear Lake County sheriffs running code ever. I very rarely hear Claremont PD running code, and the headquarters is literally down the street. So Orange County, it's still going to be the same as it's just going to be a different demographic. Like Kissimmee is predominantly Hispanic and Puerto Rican. Orlando is split into two. The east side is predominantly Hispanic, and the west side is predominantly African American, Black, or some other form of it. So it's essentially just split in two from that point forward. But no, it's not very different. So if I work for a county, can I have a pew locked in my car? Yes, yes. In the parking lot, yes, you can. The state So the state has preemption, and there is no government agency that can prohibit you from carrying a firearm inside of your car, even if it is on their property. It just must be locked and hidden from the ordinary sight. So yes, you can. Even if you work for the county, you can absolutely carry and keep it inside of your car. I recommend it all day long. Do you know when the open carry will pass or when the government is meeting on this? I don't know when they will meet on this, considering I didn't even know the opinion came out until literally today. Like somebody on Instagram told me earlier, and I literally was like, "What are you talking about? There's no new bill proposed. I didn't see anything." And then another instructor at the range when I was teaching, they were asking me, "I was like, so how do you feel about it?" And I was like, what are we talking about? I haven't read the case study. So I don't know when the Supreme Court will give an opinion. It could be soon. This case has already been this case originally happened in 22 and it's 25 and we're just getting an opinion. I'd say give it at least 3 to 4 months. At least 3 months, like towards the end of the year, see what's happening towards January. But it could be sooner. I really don't know. It all depends. I'd say for right now, pay closer attention to your local county sheriff. See what they're saying. If they're gonna work with it, then like go based off the local county sheriff because essentially, if there was an issue to start, it would start there. Like the county sheriffs would be the ones to arrest, and then you'd go to court. So listen for the local county sheriffs and what their opinion is, and then we'll stand by for the Supreme Court to see what the final law of the land will be once they do give their opinion. Based off of like reading the actual document of them going through the justification in the first district, they went through a very, very lengthy and in-depth analysis of this. So I don't know if the Supreme Court will just read what they've already said and then make a decision based off of that, or if they'll do their own deep dive. But it is 20 pages of explanation and evaluation of multiple states, multiple case laws across the country of why this should be upheld or should not be upheld. It's a landmark case, and it's interesting because the dude's name is McDaniel. The Bruin case, which is a major landmark case, happened on June 23rd, 2022, and this McDaniel case happened July 4th, 2022. Like he knew what he was doing. He was a 2A auditor. I don't know if he posted his actual video because in the report it said that he had a camera and he was recording himself and he was holding the Constitution in one hand and waving with the other and showing his weapon. Like he knew that this would eventually go this far, which is sometimes what you need. You just need a trailblazer that's willing to go there with it because I wouldn't be willing to go there with it. Absolutely not. I'm not going to court for it, but this guy was willing to, and we see what's happening. Like he is in the right. At least as of now, he's in the right. I don't know if you hear it enough, but thank you for sharing your knowledge and answering. I appreciate you, Thomas. I really do appreciate you. I won't stay on too much longer simply because my voice is now getting tired and my literal throat is like cramping from talking. I'm a talker, but I'll try to at least start this a little sooner because I started late, like 6 o'clock. So it's been just about a little over an hour at this point. But I'll stay on just for a bit more in case a couple more people are coming through. But it looks like most of us are getting off at this point in time. And Davenport. Oh, I got to read back up because I missed some context. I don't know. I just see and Davenport, but I don't know what you mean by that. Where's a good outdoor range in the Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by and Davenport, but if you can give me more context there, I'd appreciate that. What's up? We make custom rugs and would love. I don't need a rug. So Florida did not just become open carry. The first district became open carry. So the panhandle, you can open carry, and then individual counties where the sheriff says it's allowed, you can open carry, but the entire state is not open carry. So if you are not somewhere in the panhandle, do not just open carry unless you've seen that your county sheriff has said otherwise and that they will follow the lead of the first district court of appeals. If you do not, or if you just choose to open carry without following your local county sheriff, it is likely you will face a charge for open carry. Now, it is a second degree misdemeanor with a $500 charge or fee, and maybe they'll give you just probation to let you off with a warning, but you don't want to catch a charge for no reason because if they charge you and your case gets expedited and you get charged before it actually becomes law, that charge is going to stick with you. You want to make sure it's codified law so you can beat it on the backside retroactively. Excuse me. Oh, is it scared to open carry? So I'm gonna just stick to concealed carry. I'm not scared to open carry. Like I literally do it every week, but I just don't see a real need. Really, like the people that open carry, it's purely just to intimidate. It's just to intimidate, and they can't like any if there's any two-way friendly person in the 4 people on YouTube, the 8 people on TikTok right now, and you think that open carry is tactically more advantageous than concealed carry, like come up here and debate me on that one, because open carry does nothing but intimidates. That's why police do it, like because they just want to intimidate. It establishes an authority type figure in the head, or in the psychology, I'll say. But like open carry, it just there's no tactical advantage to it. Like my draw time from open carry to concealed carry is literally the same, and both of them can be increased to be exactly the same depending on how often you're actually training. So to say like the people that really argue for open carry, you just want to do it to intimidate. There's no real I don't see a real reason to do it otherwise besides to look cool because a lot of people just think it's a cool accessory on their hip and they don't actually want to get into the nitty gritty part of things. I know plenty of people that tell me, "Oh yeah, I carry, I'm fine." I get them on the range, I put a shot timer behind them, and they realize that it took them 5 seconds to get off two, and it's like, you know how many I could have discharged in five? You'd be done for. You would never have beaten me. Your first shot didn't come out until two flat. Last shot happened in five. Brother, like you're not prepared. So most people aren't even prepared for it. Um, yeah, the miscommunication is the part that would scare me. I'd agree with you there. Like I don't want motions. I don't want certain things to make people feel a certain way. And then like now we got to go through this. So like I would agree with you there. There is a lot of room for misconception in just terms of people's mannerisms, how if they talk with their hands, if they're keeping their hands towards their hip, like we don't want it to escalate to a point where a person assumes that their life is in danger before it actually is in danger because you can't articulate the intent of a person, which the intent can get very misconstrued if both people are yelling at each other. Well, I look forward to seeing more of your live streams from you. Have a good night. You too, Thomas. Good. Have a great night, brother. The only thing I like about open carry is now when you concealed and you print a little bit, you don't have, yeah. Like, I mean, with open carry coming, you don't have any real issues from that point forward because it's like if you're printing, not printing, it really doesn't matter. At least you don't see it. Um, I really just don't want to see the person that like is carrying an AR-15 on their back. That one I do not want to see. Like, I don't want to be in Publix and Walmart and just see a guy with literally a 16-inch full blast on his back. I'm not about it personally. I There's one typically always with me, and I never have mine out. Okay, I'm actually going to end this now. It is getting late. I'm gonna get into my wind down period. I still got to post on YouTube right now. So I'm gonna knock out the other tasks that I have to finish before the day is out because breaking news has just been happening all day. So I will see y'all later on. I will try to make it a point to come on tomorrow at some point. I will try to make it a hard point to come on tomorrow. So catch me tomorrow, another live find out your questions. If you want to come up here and talk with me live, you can come up here and talk with me live. I encourage it. Our real goal is to educate about gun laws, educate about gun violence, and try to find meaningful ways to prevent it and push gun education forward in the country in a way that makes sense and not the way these politicians do it like they're trying to do right now. While open carry is cool, open carry means nothing if people don't know the laws about carrying a gun in the first place. So I will see y'all next time. Stay on mission and have a great night.